My name is Titus Imboma. I work for the National Museums of Kenya in ornithology section of zoology department, where we study and work on birds as on conservation of birds, preservation of birds, and so on in their natural environments. We are using what we call mist nets. So mist nets are used to capture birds mostly in thickets. So once a bird is captured like this, you must know which direction. Sometimes they can even hit from the other side and form a pocket like that, or hit from this, so it's both ways. The net is called mist net because you can't see it very well. Yeah. So you approach the bird gently. I start with the legs because they're the most things that get caught very easily. And if I have to know exactly why the bird came in so that I can approach from that direction. It's a technique that can take some time for learning, but with patience, it needs a lot of patience because sometimes birds are so much entangled in the nets. So you can take some time to observe for some time, and then as you release the birds when they have been ringed, and then you get used to the birds. So I've removed that leg. I want to remove this one. Yeah. And then I remove the wings. Yeah. If I hold it in this way, it will be more comfortable because I see where the net is holding the bird. So I'm seeing it's holding at this point. I remove there and it's just come out. This is a weaver bird. It's a young weaver bird. So, and this buckler-fetched weaver, but I can't know which sex it is now, which if it's male or female, because still have some plumage of young bird. Yeah. So it's until it's an adult you can be able to age it well to say if it's a male or a female. So you hold birds in two ways. This is one way. If you want to photograph, the best way, that's called photography grip. And we recommend that if you want to stay with the bird in the hand, you always hold it like that so that it's calm. Yeah, that's for ringer's grip. And here you can do a lot of things. You can look at the leg where you want to put the ring. You can get the wing and see how it's molting. Like this one is molting here. Yeah, and there's a system and sequence of molting as we shall see on the ringing place. So you keep the birds here. Here they can stay. It's got some enough air, and we are just doing it for maybe for a few minutes, and then we can remove it. Okay, I got into the bird business. Let me call it business. It's not business. When I was about Emmanuel's age, that was about actually I was about 10 years old, because my father was a naturalist, and he used to lead research people in studying of birds, just like what we've been doing, ringing. So that aspect of catching the birds and looking at them really took me in the birds when I was really, really young. Bird ringing, that it was. So from there I grew up loving birds and watching birds. Then I see birds as every day, my daily activities, bird ringing, bird watching, bird research, and so on. All these are migrants from Europe. Yeah. Some of this really, the smallest one we capture around is this one. This is a willow warbler. Yeah. So in 3 weeks' time, this one will be heading back home. So we shall see what mechanisms is trying to make it achieve to go back home. Like what is it? How is it preparing? We shall see all those. They have to prepare. They don't just wake up and go. And we shall see how they prepare. It's very delicate, this one, and you can easily break the leg. So you're always very careful. You see how small it is? And you see how small the tarsus is? Very fragile. So when you want to hold, you hold it also making sure that this is the most delicate place. So I hold it like that. Yeah. I do research on birds, especially in forests, because each and every habitat in Kenya has birds. So it's very difficult to say I'll specialize myself in this area and this area, but I'm really interested in forest birds. So we've been doing research on birds for the time I came here. I found it going on. So the biggest research we've carried out on birds has been on bird migration. That's in Zava National Park. This is another warbler from Europe. We call it garden warbler, whereby we've been capturing the birds that are coming from Europe to Africa, and then some of them extend even beyond Kenya to like South Africa. So we've been assisting with capturing these birds in masses. Like one session, we can capture like let's say 15,000 birds, small birds. They travel at night, so we have that opportunity to trap them at night, and then ring them the whole night in the morning. So it's really fascinating. And then when we release these birds, when they go back to Europe, some of them are reported to have been found in Europe, and some of the birds we ring here in Zavo have got rings from Europe. So that's very interesting, seeing how nature is connecting itself. Birds are connecting people in Europe and people in Africa, because when we report that ring number, they send information immediately to us and tell us what we are doing. This bird has been recaptured now. Yeah, the ring looks very fresh. Maybe it was captured, it was caught recently. Yeah, so we take it even though it has a ring, and we don't put it on it another ring, because we record the ring and we can make a follow-up to know exactly when it was ringed. So it's a good for history, especially that one I caught when it was young. If you ringed a young bird, it's easy to follow up and know exactly how old it gets. The ring has information, yes, yeah? So this one says Museum Nairobi. And then it's got a number AA3888589. That number is unique for this individual, not for species, but this individual. I've been also taking part in coordination of waterfall counts. That's water birds along the Rift Valley lakes. Our Rift Valley lakes are so important because they have very important birds like flamingos, like lesser flamingos. Because the lakes are saline and lesser flamingos feed on the algae, so those environment is very habitable for such birds. And then this is why we've been counting birds every year to understand populations and how populations are changing in the seasons and probably with years. As you know, there's climate change, and every time things changes, there's also the birds can tell you what's happening. Just like those birds migrating from Europe because of winter, these birds that we see here could be moving because of changes in quality of the lakes, so that's the salinity or the quality of the climate, kind of those things. So those are the things we are looking at to try to use birds to tell us how the nature is changing. By looking at the numbers, by looking at the species, we can be able to tell all those. Yeah, this is a firefinch, a female red-billed firefinch. Male is more red than the more browner female. And these spots also, they are normally, many of these spots are on female, but male will have very less spots. These are seed eaters because their bills are small, and yeah, mostly it's some small seeds and grasses and so on. But they can feed on other things. Even seed eaters, when they're breeding, they feed their young ones on insects because insects have got a lot of proteins. And then here at the ornithology, I train this bird ringing. I coordinate it. So I bring youth together and other people who are interested, the staff or also university students who want to study birds. And it has been very promising because like This morning we had 2 university students, and they are very excited that this is what they want to do. They're asking, what project can I do for my undergraduate? And we've got a lot we can offer them, so that when they go back, they can come back as now researchers with their interest after we have impacted something into them. So the first thing is to identify a species. If you don't know the species name, you release it, because it will be embarrassing if somebody catches it and he gives an information that is irrelevant. Yeah. For example, you can say this is a warbler, and then we can start there, rather than just saying it's a bird. So to identify, you have to start from afar. So after you have identified, you now get the ring to put on. Different birds have got different sizes of the leg. So this size is what fits the warblers, or this kind of a warbler, a garden warbler. This warbler has come many kilometers away from Europe. So you have to treat it very nicely, very gently. It has to go back home, and in 3 weeks' time, to be leaving this place. So you should not affect the wings or so. You have to be very gentle to it. So this is how we put on the ring, very gently. Yeah, and you see, I've not closed it completely, because if I put it that and I close when it's in that position, it will overlap and harm the bird. But after this, I turn like this, yeah, and then I close like this. You can even press harder. So this bird, because it's moving home soon, it has molted all the feathers, because this is how it has. This is the only means it can fly, yeah? By having very renewed feathers. So it has replaced all old feathers. But if you look here, there are still some old. These like tarsals, 1, 2, 3, they look old, which means they were the first to be replaced, and that's why they look old. But they could be the same generation. Because when you close this wing like this, what is left out is this, the tarsals. So they get worn easily. So they have to be replenished first, yeah, before it replenishes these other ones. So that's called molting. So the idea of replacing the feathers, because when the feathers get old and worn out, flying can be a problem for birds, because there's wind going through and so on. So there's no proper agility in flight. So in the museum, we have like 25,000 skins of birds skins, and put in trays. Those are study skins, not just skins, but study skins for research purposes, for scientific purposes. So they have dates when they are brought in, they have the names of the people who brought them in, and the reasons why they are brought it in, and those areas they were brought in. And some are dating back even 80 years, 70 years. Some came in 1940s, 1910s, 1911s. So we have preserved them that for posterity of the nation, and also for those people who want to come and find out. Because some of these birds, those areas that you found them that time, they may not be there because of changes in our forests covers are getting small, wetlands are getting problems, and then the birds can tell us all how these changes have been on over time. You see, in the tracheal pit, there's some yellow traces. You see that? That yellow is fat. For migrants to be able to fly long distance, they put on fat. It's called subcutaneous fat beneath the skin. And this is what they're going to use to fly long distance back at home. So this one is just put on very little, which means this bird cannot go at home this week. So it will have to put on more fat so that it can be able to fly easily. That fat is the energy it's spending to fly. I feel so proud when I see young people coming to love birds. Because actually, when we teach young people from a tender age, it's amazing how you see how they capture the names of birds and those activities. Because when you teach somebody young, he captures very quickly, because the brain wants to capture new things and is developing. So I'll want to see this nation, especially when you look at curriculum, we should have curriculum activities in schools that allows young people to come out in nature and appreciate nature. So that when you tell somebody, after you've used your bottle, keep it, he knows why he's keeping the bottle, but not throwing it on the road. Yeah? Because some people think when they have finished a soda or a packet of biscuits and they throw, somebody is there to take care of it. And we see it happening every day. So birds, if you love birds especially, you can come out and you can find birds in every habitat. We have birds in the city, like where we are now. We have birds in the driest place in the world, like Chalpi Desert. We've got specific birds that are there. We have birds in wetlands. We have birds in forests. So if we educate people on how to appreciate birds, they will also appreciate the birds' habitats. And when they appreciate the habitats of the birds, they become even better to teach about conservation, because they know the link between birds and the habitats. If you know the wetlands are there because of water birds, you can be very curious on how you can, if somebody say we want to conserve wetlands, you cannot be pushed to do it. You love it because you know there's something there that I'm taking care of. Yeah, you are not pushed to, so that some people think if you're told to do this, you must be bulldozed or you must be policed to see yourself. So you see the self-driven people, when you get education into young people, when they grow up, they get self-driven. They appreciate birds because we've talked about ecosystem services. They can see birds as helping in things like pollination. They can help birds helping in things like pest management, managing their own pests. And then they can have another ideas. Let me not use chemicals, because if I use birds, if I spare birds, they'll feed on my pests from my farm. Because if I use chemicals, these chemicals, they can be inbuilt into other systems, which can be disasters at a certain ecosystem. So if we appreciate birds, we see values. We see values here and there. We see gains. We see benefits. We see everything. It even boosts you to want to plant trees, because a bird should be in the tree. Yeah. So if you plant trees, you see how shade you're sitting in. Yeah. You can sit and enjoy. You can value the environment. You can value the habitat. You can value the birds, and that's what I mean. Yeah.